Everyone, welcome back to Alan's awesome keto world. I'm hoping you have a great afternoon. Boy, I'm having trouble talking today, so jeez, I'm not sure what's going on. Hey, I have a real treat for you. So this is going to be something I'm sure you're going to love. This is something I like. I love, I should say, because of the fact that it's one of my favorites. So if you ever like going to the Red Lobster, and one of the best things about going to the Red Lobsters are their garlic biscuits that they have. Those biscuits are so good. So I have a replication of that that's keto style, but they taste just like the Red Lobster biscuits. So they're called Cheddar Bay Biscuits. So they're garlicky biscuits made with a lot of cheese and a lot of almond flour and other good things. So they're really tasty. So this is one of the things that my wife and I we'll make 2 batches of them. We'll freeze some of them, then we'll have some. We'll pull them out, as we go, so that we have them throughout the week. On the following weekend, we use them for breakfast as well. So they're great with their breakfast. You have some eggs, and they go really well with the eggs, and an avocado, and one of these biscuits. So they're really good. I'm going to start showing you how to do it. So first, we're going to preheat the oven to 425. I also forgot, I'm going to need some parchment paper. I'm going to take out the parchment paper right now. And we'll start with that. So to start off with, what we're going to do is we're going to mix a couple of things here. We're going to start off with our cheeses. We're actually going to mix the cream cheese that we have. We have 4 ounces of cream cheese here that we're going to mix. We're going to take that, and then we're going to mix it with about 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese. So nice and gooey, lovely stuff. So we're going to take that, we're going to put it all in one bowl together. Then we're going to pop that into the microwave for 45 seconds. Now, if you didn't want to use a microwave, you can do this on a double boiler on top of your stove. And then melt them all down and get them all nice and gooey together. So just for time's sake, I'm going to put them in a microwave and do it 45 seconds. And then in the second part of this, we're actually going to start mixing our dry ingredients together. So we're going to go in, while that's cooking, we're actually going to put in, this is almond flour. I'm going to put in about 2/3 of a cup of almond flour in there. To get that going. And then we're going to take out here, and this is baking powder. So we're going to take the baking powder and we're going to put in about 4 teaspoons of baking powder into it. So, and then of course, to make it really taste garlicky and taste like those biscuits in the Red Lobsters, we're going to take in and put in about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. You can actually put in a little more if you like garlic. I'm a big fan of garlic. I love garlic. So I'll actually put in like almost a whole teaspoon in here when I put them in. I'll put that in there. 1 second, we'll get this out. We're going to get this out. We're going to mix it together. See how it's melting. You'll see that this cheese was cold, so it didn't melt all the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop it back in the microwave for another 30 seconds or so. 20 seconds. I wouldn't recommend going above 20 seconds just after that first initial one, just because you want to make sure that you don't burn the cheese, over melt the cheese. So. And then we'll take the dry ingredients, what we got going right here, we'll kind of mix it together a little bit, just to kind of get everything all mixed up. Well, that's going. Now, it doesn't take very long to prep this stuff. The time is really waiting. A lot of it is the waiting time, right? So once you get it all cooked up, we got to put it in the refrigerator for a half an hour and let it sit for sit there for a half hour, I should say, because it's pretty warm, so therefore it's really sticky, and it's best to put it in the refrigerator, let it sit, cool off. Then it's much easier to handle and cut up, and then we're going to put it in the oven and bake it. So this is really good. So you can see the cheese is really pretty well mixed together, the two cheeses. And then back to our dry ingredients. In our dry ingredients, we're going to mix in 2 eggs. I love this recipe. My wife and I always we do, and like I say in the beginning, do a double batch, and it's really good. So it's one of our favorites. So that way there we don't have to make it every week, because it does take a little bit of time to make. A little bit of meal prep goes a long way, right? So again, now the eggs are all mixed together with the almond flour and the baking soda and the garlic. So now we're going to put in the cheese into it. And we're going to mix the two together. So I want to get that garlicky taste, so I scoop everything I can into there to make sure I get every drop. So that's good. Now we're going to mix those dry ingredients. I guess they're not dry anymore because of the eggs, but we're going to mix the cheese in with the other ingredients. Mix it. Now this will take a little bit because the cheese is very sticky and is not going to want to mix very good. So if it's not mixing and it starts to get too stiff to mix together, you may have to pop it in the microwave again for another 20 seconds or so, just to soften that cheese up so that you can get them to mix together. You are going to have to work at it. It's not... This is a great bread replacement, so I'll tell you. So I like the way these things taste. They have the kind of the consistency of bread. They just have a great taste. So it's one of those things that will make sure that you don't miss bread at all when you're doing this. It's pretty healthy because of the cheese and stuff in it. It will help you get your fats in as well. Of course, the garlic is healthy for you as well. So you can see this is starting to come together pretty good. Excuse me. So it's starting to come together pretty well now. It looks pretty good. So once we get it all together and it looks pretty good, what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of parchment paper. That's what I pulled off here earlier. So we're going to take a piece of parchment paper. Now I do find it easier that if I put it on a plate after, because I'm going to have to handle it. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of almond flour on it so that it doesn't stick to the parchment paper. This just helps it so that it makes it easier to after it cools. Now, like again, I said, the reason we're putting it in the refrigerator is not really to make it rise or anything, but it really is because it's so soft, because the cheese is, we melted it, and so it's really just to firm things up in it. So as we divide it up, now these make about 8 biscuits. So in one recipe, so one batch. Now you will see that my hands are, they're on here. I did put that down, so if you touch it, it's going to get really, really sticky. So I'm going to grab a piece of paper towel here. Wipe my hands. Now what I am going to do is, because this is so soft, I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on a plate. It just makes it easier to handle. Now I will say that if you want to, instead of using parchment paper, because you want to save that maybe for the bacon piece of it, you can use some saran wrap or you can use some wax paper. You just got to make sure you don't use the wax paper and put it in the oven. That wouldn't be good, right? So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. And I actually got, because I said we make 2 batches, so I actually, everybody, the batch should be ready to come out of the refrigerator now. It's been in there for a half hour. We'll pull it out. We'll show you what the next steps are. So here it is out of the refrigerator. You can see it's a lot stiffer now. I'm going to put it back in the bowl here for a second. Then once I get it in the bowl, I'm actually going to mix in a cup of cheddar cheese. So the cheddar cheese has to go in cold because it melts while it's in the oven cooking. I got to turn the oven back on for a second. Hold on. All right, so we're going to mix this up with the cheddar cheese. All right, so now that's all mixed together like that, and it's actually pretty well mixed together. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it back out here onto the paper. We're actually going to take some of the almond flour. I'm going to put it on my hands just to keep it from sticking too much. All right. That out of the way, that out of the way. We're going to push this down. I do need a knife. I don't have it with me. I'm going to grab it. So we're going to roll it up and flatten it out. Yes, my hands are clean. I washed them. So we're good. And then once I get to a certain point where I'm happy with it, I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut it and I'm going to make it into 8 pieces. All right, then I'm going to take the 8 pieces and I'm going to roll them up. And do a nice ball. So like I said, it makes 8, so they're good portions. You see that your hands still get all nasty and everything else from it. I'm gonna grab a paper towel, wash my hands real briefly. There. My hand's a little bit clean anyway. Then I'm going to throw these back in here. I'm going to start the timer for 12 minutes. Clear off some of my stuff here. So just to go through some of the micros as we go through the macros. I'm sorry. Geez, I'm just having one of those days, I guess. The macros are such that they're about 230 calories per biscuit. So again, the total carb count on these things are 4. So the fiber content on them is about 2. So that means that the net carbs are about 2 per biscuit. So 2 carbs per biscuit on the net carbs. Protein's about 13 grams as well. So those are the kind of the breakdown of it. So while those are in there baking, I did bake some other ones. So like I said, I generally, when I make these, I make them in 2 batches. This is what they came out looking like. I turned them over, but that's what they come out looking like. Take one of them, like this. Those are really, really, really good. So if you like this recipe, even though I messed up a few times, hopefully you'll like it, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video.